Welcome to Fun Theory. We've got a really fascinating topic to explore today. We're diving into the world of H.P. Lovecraft and his Cthulhu Mythos. You've given us a whole bunch of material. It's kind of intimidating, but I'm really excited to dig in and see what we can uncover about this whole mythos. You know, Lovecraft, he was this early 20th century horror writer, but he didn't just write your typical ghost stories, right? He went way beyond that.
Yeah, you could say that Lovecraft's work, it falls into the category of cosmic horror, which is a genre that he basically invented. It's all about this idea that humanity is totally insignificant compared to these huge, ancient, and powerful entities out there in the cosmos. These beings, they're not just scary to look at. They can actually, shatter your sanity just by seeing them.
And the thing that I find so intriguing is that his creatures didn't stay put in his stories. They became part of this whole other thing, this shared universe called the Cthulhu Mythos.
It's true. The Cthulhu Mythos is this crazy collection of stories, movies, games, all inspired by Lovecraft's original ideas. It just keeps growing. I mean, it really shows how powerful his imagination was and how much people are still drawn to cosmic horror. The fact that Lovecraft's work is in the public domain has helped this shared universe to grow like crazy. I mean, anyone can take his ideas and add their own spin to it.
So, how did this whole Cthulhu Mythos thing even happen? Where did it all begin?
Well, there were basically three stages to its evolution. Obviously, it starts with Lovecraft himself. His early stories, especially The Call of Cthulhu, that's like the foundation. That story introduced this whole concept of these ancient, powerful beings lurking just outside our perception. And then, of course, he kept developing these ideas, sometimes working with other authors, like Robert E. Howard, the guy who created Conan the Barbarian.
Wow, that's wild. So they were already kind of building this shared world even back then.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how those early horror writers were connecting their work. But then the second stage started after Lovecraft died. August Derleth. He was a huge Lovecraft fan, and he picked up where Lovecraft left off. He really codified a lot of the mythos, expanded on the existing lore, but he also introduced this whole good versus evil thing that wasn't really there in Lovecraft's original vision. Lovecraft's work was more like bleak, totally nihilistic. And this caused some arguments among fans. Some people thought that Derleth's changes oversimplified things and kind of ruined the whole point of cosmic horror.
So even within a shared universe, people can disagree about what's what.
Totally. And the third stage is where it gets even more organized. Authors like Lynn Carter and game designers like Sandy Peterson, the guy who created the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, they worked to categorize all the different gods, monsters, and creatures in the Cthulhu mythos, trying to bring some order to the chaos.
Like a cosmic horror encyclopedia.
Kind of. And, when we talk about the Cthulhu mythos, we can't forget about the creatures themselves. Some of them are pretty iconic.
I was just going to ask about that. Who are some of the big names?
Well, the most famous one is Cthulhu himself. He's this monstrous entity that sleeps in the sunken city of Arlia. Imagine a mix of an octopus, a dragon, and a human. That's Cthulhu. He is like the ultimate symbol of cosmic indifference, just this unimaginable power that doesn't care about us at all. And just seeing him can drive a person to madness.
That's terrifying. And what about the deep ones? I've heard of those.
The deep ones, they're these fish-like humanoids that live in the story, The Shadow over Innsmouth. And get this, they can actually breed with humans. They create these hybrids that slowly, over time, transform into full-fledged deep ones. It's really creepy, and it kind of blurs the lines between human and monster.
It makes you think about what it even means to be human.
Yeah.
What else is out there?
Right. And then you've got the elder things. They're these super ancient aliens. They were on Earth way before humans even existed. Imagine a starfish, but huge and scary. They created the Shoggoths.
Shoggoths. Those sound familiar.
They are these formless blobs of flesh with eyes and tentacles everywhere. Totally terrifying. Originally, they were supposed to be slaves for the Elder Things, but they rebelled. You could say they represent the danger of playing God.
Like creating something you can't control.
Exactly. And we can't forget the Mygo from The Whisperer in Darkness. They're these weird fungoid creatures that can take on different forms. Sometimes they look like winged crabs.
Winged crabs.
Ooh.
So many creepy creatures. And Lovecraft came up with all these himself.
Well, he did and he didn't. The Cthulhu mythos, it's more than just Lovecraft's own creations. It's this constantly evolving thing, always expanding, adding new layers of strangeness and horror. It's a whole world of its own. Lovecraft's creatures really did make a mark on the world of horror, but what's even more important is that he kind of changed what horror even means. He went way past those typical ghost stories and goblins into this really deep realm of existential dread, where the real monsters are these cosmic forces that we can't even begin to comprehend.
You keep mentioning this cosmic horror. It sounds like it's about way more than just jump scares.
Right. It's about the fear of the unknown. It's that feeling you get when you realize that humanity is like a little speck of dust in this massive, indifferent universe.
I could see how that would be terrifying. It's not just being afraid of something in the dark. It's this darning realization that we're not even close to being in control, that there are these things happening out there that we can't see or even understand.
Exactly. It's that feeling of cosmic dread, that chilling realization that we're just tiny, insignificant beings compared to the vastness of the cosmos. And that's what makes Lovecraft's work so effective.
I can definitely see why that would stick with people. This fear of the unknown, I mean, that's something everyone deals with, right?
Absolutely. I think Lovecraft tapped into this primal fear, something that goes beyond time and culture. We're still drawn to stories about the darkness that we can't explain, stories that remind us of how vulnerable we are when we're faced with the vastness of the cosmos.
The Call of Cthulhu is a great example of that. It's one of his most famous works, and it really embodies this whole idea of cosmic dread.
Oh, yeah. In The Call of Cthulhu, the main character stumbles onto this evidence of a global cult that's worshiping Cthulhu. And as we've talked about, Cthulhu isn't just your average monster. He's a symbol of something way more unsettling.
It's not even just about seeing him. It's the fact that simply looking at him can drive you insane. It's like the sheer scale of him, the fact that he's so powerful and so alien that just fries your brain.
Yeah. The real horror comes from realizing that our human minds just can't handle the idea of something like Cthulhu existing. Our brains just aren't built to process something so completely outside our understanding.
It's like a psychological horror that plays out on a cosmic scale.
It really is. A lot of Lovecraft's characters are trapped in the middle of these cosmic forces, totally helpless to stop them. All they can do is try to hold on to their sanity as everything around them gets darker and darker.
That's bleak.
It is. The true horror of cosmic horror is accepting that we're basically insignificant, that all of our hopes and dreams are meaningless in the face of this vast and indifferent universe. It's a really dark view, but it does force us to face some hard truths about our place in the grand scheme of things.
It's definitely not your typical happy ending. Lovecraft really challenges us to look at the darkness, to acknowledge those things that are outside of our control, and to really question what we think is real.
And by doing that, his stories become something more than just horror. They become these explorations of what it means to be human. They force us to think about our own mortality, our limitations, to really contemplate our place in this vast tapestry of existence.
He takes horror, sci-fi, and existentialism, throws them all together. It's a pretty potent mix.
Yeah, it's unique. And I think that's why people are still drawn to his work. It's a blend of fear and wonder that really gets under your skin.
It's about more than just being scared. It's about looking inward and examining the human psyche in the face of this cosmic horror. That's what sets Lovecraft apart.
Exactly. It's all there. Isolation, alienation, the fact that our minds are so fragile, and that sometimes we're drawn to dangerous knowledge, even though it might destroy us.
So much to unpack.
And we're just getting started. When we really dive into the Cthulhu mythos, we run into all kinds of creatures. We've already talked about Cthulhu and the deep ones, but there's a whole menagerie of beings that really represent what cosmic horror is all about. Well, there's this one, Yog-Sothoth, from the Dunwich Horror. He's made up of these glowing spheres, and he exists everywhere at once. Like, all of time and space, he's there. It's like he represents some kind of cosmic awareness that we can't even begin to understand.
So he basically represents the vastness and the mystery of the universe.
Yeah, and he holds the key to, like, ultimate knowledge. But as with most things in the Cthulhu mythos, that knowledge comes at a steep price. Looking for forbidden knowledge, well, that's a surefire path to madness and destruction. That's one of Lovecraft's big themes.
Makes sense. What about those Shoggoths we talked about earlier? They're pretty disturbing too.
Oh yeah, the Shoggoths. They were created by the Elder Things as slaves, but they rebelled. They're formless, with all those eyes and tentacles, just a mass of protoplasm. They show how even our best intentions can go horribly wrong.
A reminder that messing with forces we don't understand can have some pretty bad consequences.
It's like a cautionary tale, right? About how arrogant humanity can be. We think we can control things that are way beyond our grasp.
Trying to play God never really ends well, especially when you're dealing with forces that are basically unknowable.
It's a good reminder that we're just tiny little creatures in a vast and indifferent cosmos, that our attempts to understand or control the universe can backfire in pretty terrifying ways.
Lovecraft's work isn't exactly comforting, is it?
Not really. He doesn't offer any easy answers or happy endings. Instead, he challenges us to face the truth, no matter how unsettling it might be. He forces us to acknowledge the vastness of what we don't know and the limits of our own understanding. And that's what keeps people coming back for more. He pushes us to look deeper, to question what we believe, and to accept that there are forces out there that we might never understand.
It's a journey into the darkness, for sure.
It is. It's a confrontation with the unknown. But there's something exhilarating about it, too.
Hmm.
Lovecraft stories, they're not just meant to scare you, they're about what it means to be human. They challenge us to rethink our place in the universe and to make peace with all the mysteries we'll never solve.
They're like horror stories, but with a philosophical twist.
Yeah, and he doesn't just stop at the Call of Cthulhu. He wrote other stories, too, like The Shadow over Innsmouth, with its creepy fish people and its super unsettling vibe. It's one of his best when it comes to creating dread and blurring the line between humans and monsters.
It plays on our primal fear of what might be lurking in the dark, right? Both literally and figuratively. It makes you think about what we can't see or understand.
Exactly. And The Shadow over Innsmouth, like a lot of his stories, explores themes of being isolated and feeling alienated. A lot of his characters are outsiders, smart people who are shunned by society. That their pursuit of knowledge ends up leading them down these dark and dangerous paths, and ultimately to madness.
So it's not just about facing these cosmic horrors, it's about the internal struggles, too, the fragility of the human mind.
Oh, for sure. His stories expose the dark side of humanity, our fear or potential for madness, and our desperate need to make sense of a universe that often doesn't make any sense at all. Lovecraft's work is like a multifaceted exploration of what it means to be human, and that's what makes it so fascinating, even today.
So they're more than just monster stories. They're like windows into the human soul. They show our fears, our desires, and our place in a universe that's both beautiful and terrifying. And there's so much more to explore in this world that he created.
Lovecraft, though, his influence goes way beyond just books, you know?
Yeah.
His ideas, they've kind of seeped into our culture. I mean, you see it everywhere. Movies, video games, even music and art.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You can definitely see his mark on movies. I mean, some adaptations haven't been that great. Like, they focus too much on the monsters and not enough on the psychological stuff, But there have been some really good ones, too.
Yeah, like Color Out of Space from a few years back. Nicolas Cage was in that one. It was visually amazing, and it stuck pretty close to Lovecraft's story. It did a really good job of capturing the unsettling atmosphere and the creeping dread that Lovecraft was so good at.
I really liked Annihilation, too. That one wasn't a direct adaptation,
Okay.
but you could tell it was inspired by Lovecraft.
Yeah.
That whole idea of an alien force that changes everything it touches, it totally had that cosmic horror vibe.
The Cthulhu Mythos, it's like a playground for filmmakers. It's all about the unknown and the terrifying vastness of the universe. It's perfect for exploring the dark side of humanity and all those mysteries we can't explain.
It's like he gave us a set of tools for exploring our deepest fears. Filmmakers can use those tools to create their own cosmic horror stories, even if they don't specifically mention Cthulhu or any of the other creatures.
Right. The key is to capture that feeling of cosmic dread. You know, that feeling that you're facing something so massive and incomprehensible that it just shatters your reality. But movies aren't the only ones who've embraced Lovecraft. The video game world loves him too.
Yeah, there are some great examples of that. Games like Bloodborne and Amnesia, The Dark Descent, they put you right in the middle of these environments that just scream cosmic horror. The line between reality and nightmare gets blurry. There's a sense of danger around every corner.
Those games are really good at making you feel vulnerable and scared. You have to confront your fears head on. And then you've got games that are based directly on the Cthulhu mythos, like the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. It's been around forever, and it's still going strong.
It's amazing how popular that game is.
Yeah.
I guess it shows just how much staying power Lovecraft's ideas have. In that game, you play as investigators, uncovering the mysteries of the Cthulhu mythos. And a lot of times, it costs you your sanity.
It's crazy to think about how one writer's imagination has inspired so many different creative works. And it's not just film and games either. Lovecraft is everywhere. Comic books, music, board games. It's like his themes and imagery have become part of our DNA. They pop up in the strangest places, reminding us that cosmic horror is still alive and well.
It's like this world that Lovecraft created, with all its cosmic dread and strange creatures. It just keeps growing and evolving. It's taken on a life of its own.
He really tapped into something fundamental, that deep-seated fear of the unknown. I mean, that's something that everyone experiences no matter what culture they come from. His work reminds us that we're not in charge of the universe, that there are forces out there way bigger than us that we may never be able to understand.
It's kind of a scary thought, but it's also kind of freeing in a way, don't you think?
Yeah, I get that. Lovecraft, he challenges us to acknowledge our limitations, to accept that there are mysteries we'll never solve.
The Cthulhu Mythos, it started with just one author, but now it feels like belongs to everyone. It's like a shared mythology that we're all adding to.
It's a reflection of our anxieties and fascinations all rolled into one.
Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into the Cthulhu Mythos.
It's been a wild ride, for sure.
It has, and we hope you've enjoyed it. If you're looking for something to keep you up at night, we highly recommend checking out Lovecraft's work and all the amazing creations it's inspired. You might just find that confronting those cosmic horrors can be both terrifying and totally fascinating. So until next time on Fun Theory.